Good evening. This is a meeting of the Township Committee, April 20th, 2020. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Star Ledger, the Independent, and the Two River Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk all on January 9th, 2020. Committeeman Hybel.
Here.
Committeeman Santambrino.
Here.
Committeewoman Snell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Here.
Mayor Perry.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor the troops who are worldwide defending our constitutions, freedoms, and way of life. Thank you. First on tonight's agenda, we have proclamations for the record. We have a proclamation recognizing April 19th through the 25th, 2020 as National Library Week in the Township of Middletown. A proclamation recognizing May 20th, 2020 as Buddy Poppy Month in the Township of Middletown. A proclamation recognizing May 10th through the 16th, 2020 as National Police Week in the Township of Middletown. And a proclamation recognizing May 3rd through the 9th, 2020 as Municipal Clerks Week in the Township of Middletown. At this time, we have our budget introduction process, and I'm going to turn it over to our Chief Financial Officer, Colleen Lapp.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Colleen.
Hey, Colleen.
Colleen, we need to see the video.
I have tonight prepared our budget presentation in a PowerPoint format, as I typically do. So I'm going to take a few minutes now and just walk you through the summary of our budget. The revenues this year in 2020 total $83,452,252. That's an increase of $3,125,037 from 2019 revenues. One of the things I want to point out in this is that we had a bond sale at the end of 2019 in which we received a large premium. And we've had this in the past where there's an accounting move that I have to do according to state statute to bring that premium in as a revenue and send it back over to capital to fund those ordinances. So there's about 1.6 million in both revenues and appropriations. That's a wash that's really just coming through this budget to go back over to capital.
Hey, Colleen,
can we just interrupt you for a moment?
Sure.
Your presentation is not showing. Is it possible for you to share that with us?
Let me see. I had done that.
Share screen on
it. Sorry.
there it comes. There we go.
All right. Okay. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Colleen.
So here are the revenues, as I just went through, and the almost 1.6 million that you'll see, it's actually 1.5 million, and that's in that local change. You see the 1.578 million, and that's where you see that wash that I was just talking about for the capital improvements. Other than that, we had an increase in some surplus usage, and nothing else too startling with our revenues. The next slide is the appropriations. And with that, we have some typical increases. We have an increase in our salary and wages, which is mostly contractual. We have an increase in our medical and prescription. That's based on claims history. And we also had an increase in workers' comp. And workers' comp, there's an increase. It was based on our claims from last year, but it's also, there's a new law in place in workers' comp for protections for our firefighters and our first aid members. And we had to somewhat plan for that. It's a little difficult because it's brand new. So we took our best guesstimate at that. We did some analysis. We've talked a lot about that, but we had to make an increase to that line to prepare ourselves for that. This is a pie chart that shows the breakdown of the categories within the budget, not by department, but within categories themselves. As usually is the case, salary and wages is our largest part of the budget. Insurance is another large part, and then we have our operating expenditures, which are the operating budgets of each department, which fund things that DPW does, that public work, that the police department does, and all of the other departments. The services that we provide to the residents are all supported through those costs. Debt service is another large piece, as is the pension and retirement costs. Pension and retirement costs are a large piece. We did see a slight reduction this year. One of the things that we've consciously tried to do is, as we have people retire or leave our service, we evaluate those positions and we decide whether they could be replaced with part-timers, and we've done that a lot, which helps to reduce that cost.
And Colleen, we saw, and not to interrupt, but we saw that with the shared service agreement with the county, with Monmouth County, and with regard to CDBG funding, we've been able to do a shared service agreement where we did not have somebody in that role, and now we have been able to not only institute that shared service, but also save on the salary, health benefits, and all that come with that position by moving that to the county. That's what you're kind of elaborating on.
Right, that's true, Mayor. And another one, which is a couple of years back, but certainly is still reaping benefits for us, is the dispatch with Monmouth County. Right. The dispatch division was costly as far as salary and benefits go. And we were able to go into an agreement which initially saved us money. It stayed flat for 3 years. And actually, this is the first year where we're seeing a slight increase to that cost, but certainly it's much less than the increase that we would have had over the past 4 years had we maintained those employees on our payroll.
Right. Despite this being the first time we've seen an increase, the savings are still there and are still real in a year-to-year over basis.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
This slide is based on last year's certified levies, and it just shows again the breakdown of the tax dollar. It's based on the levies, but for every municipal dollar that is paid to us from a resident, 62 cents of that, or 62%, goes to the school. 23% stays within the municipality to cover our costs. 11% goes to the county, 2% to the library, and 1% each for the open space levies for the county and the for our municipal open space as well. This next slide shows us the difference in property taxes from 19 to 20. Our municipal levy is increasing by $1,050,588. On our tax rate, that's a zero change. It's the same tax rate from 2019 to 2020. The impact on the average homeowner. For 2019, the average residential assessment was $444,180. For 2020, it's $448,197. And just for the municipal services, which is what we're looking at, The change in this year for the overall, for the year on an average assessed residential home is $19.20. Breaking that down to monthly, it's $1.60 a month. And as I say every year, this is based on our preliminary net value taxable. Within the next few weeks, our net value taxable, which is how the rates are struck, that's the denominator for the rates, will be finalized from the county, and I'll receive that information, update that before adoption. Last year, we started this slide, which shows us the residential properties, and I apologize, I don't know why it's thrown off in this slide, but I will tell you the numbers. Our total residential properties for the town is 22,823 properties. So this year, if we apply the tax rate with the new assessed values, we will have 6,713 properties, residential property owners, who will see either a zero increase in their municipal property taxes or see a decrease. We will have 11,354 residences that will see a difference of less than $25 for the year, and 4,756 residences will see a tax difference in excess of $25. So for the majority of the taxpayers, it's $25 or less, and for even a good significant portion of those, they will see zero or a decrease on their municipal property tax.
80%. Yeah.
This is an example of our tax dollar receipt that our residents can go onto our website and pull up their assessed value and apply the tax rate. It's very convenient right now since the tax rate is the same as it was last year. It's a very easy thing to do. They can go on there, they can see their municipal taxes broken down amongst each department to see where their tax dollars go each year. For example, a person with the $448,197 assessed value, $537 pays annually for police, $460 for DPW, and down the line down to where you could see things like the library, recreation, and all other areas of cost within the township, so that you understand more fully where your tax dollars go and what they pay for on the municipal level. This slide is to demonstrate how important commercial properties are to the taxpayer, the average residential taxpayer. We have 24,352 parcels within the township. 22,830 are residential parcels, and that is 93.75% of the tax base is residential. When it comes to the tax dollars, the residents are paying 88.63%, where commercials are paying 10.33% of tax dollars. Commercials represent only 2.48% of the parcels. So it shows us how important those are to a good balance. It helps to ease the burden on residential property owners, and it helps us to provide services at a more fair cost to everybody. And then my final slide that I end with every year is our energy tax receipts. This is the taxes that be collected locally from all of our utilities. It's for, the right of ways and things like that run through the township that have a value, a property tax value. Years ago, the state took over collecting that. It was simply supposed to be a pass-through. But when times got tough at the state, they decided that they would keep some of the money, although it's not what's supposed to happen. Each year, I do a calculation of what we should have been paid since 2001. This year, we should be getting from the state $11,783,159. However, we're slated to get $6,044,933. which is a difference of $5.7 million. So that, when we have an increase of just a little bit over $1 million, and we should be receiving 5.7 million rightfully through this tax, it shows not only would we not have a tax increase, but we would have a significant 10% drop in our property tax levy if we received what we were supposed to just in this 1 year. If we had received everything that we should have since 2001, that's 63,109,081. That's larger than our entire levy for this year. So that is my presentation. I can take questions.
Thank you, Colleen. Any questions for our CFO?
Colleen, it's Tony Fiore. Thank you. Wonderful job as always. Hopefully you can hear me.
Okay.
Cool. So just a few questions here that I'm sure we will get. With respect to state aid, the state aid in your budget was flat from last year, correct? Just to verify that.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do we have any anticipation that in this, or has there been any guidance based on what has gone down with the state shutdown, if the state may potentially reverse course on that state aid calculation prior to a potential adoption of this budget?
Certainly not prior to the adoption of this budget. There's been, what we've been told is that we will not receive less than what we had in 2019, and that was reiterated to us. However, that was prior to the state deciding that they were going to contemplate extending their budget year through September 30th. So to me, I'm not sure that anything is guaranteed at this point. And certainly the one thing to consider is with that September 30th extension of the state budget, we typically start to receive our state aid payments on August 1st. And those are usually the larger payments. We get them August, September, October, November, December 1st. The larger payments are our front payments. So with the state calendar, the budget calendar not ending till September 30th, there's a good chance that our cash flow could be impacted if they are going to delay those payments, which I can't see how they won't if they don't end their budget year until September 30th.
Understood. Thank you. Second question, with respect to cost drivers of this budget that were not there last year. You mentioned workers' compensation. I know we've spoken many times about workers' compensation, increased potential costs that we have to now encumber based on the governor signing a new law with respect to volunteers and cancer coverage. If we didn't have that new law put into place last year, or that new, what I'll call unfunded state mandate, what would the budget look like this year in terms of, what you'd be presenting today?
Well, what we included this year for that cost was, I just want to make sure I have it in front of me. I just want to make sure I give you the right number.
I think it's a $500,000, Colleen.
Yeah, we included another 500,000, which is 1% on our tax levy. So right now we're at a little bit under 2% with the 1,050,000. So if we didn't have that, it would cut that in half, and our tax rate would actually have decreased.
Gotcha. Thank you. Let me just see any other questions. That's all the questions I have thus far, Colleen. Thank you. Very well done.
Any other member of the Township Committee have a question for Colleen?
I don't. Thank you for the report.
Thank you, Colleen.
You're welcome.
No, thank you.
All right, Colleen, thank you.
You're welcome.
Colleen?
Now I'm trying to, I can't remember how to do it. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, there I go.
All right.
Okay, at this time, we have resolution 20-110, resolution authorizing the 2020 municipal budget.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry. Motion carries to pass this resolution with a public hearing to be held tentatively on May 18th, 2020. At this time, we have resolution 20-111, a resolution to authorize the budget be read by title.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 20-111. At this time, we have the approval of minutes for October 7th, 2019 executive session, the October 21st, 2019 executive session, March 16th, 2020 regular meeting, April 6th, 2020 workshop meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Approved minutes. At this time, we have public hearing on proposed ordinance 2020-3289, an ordinance authorizing quick claim deed with American Properties pursuant to court order.
Before I open it up for public comment, Heidi will, as soon as I open it up, Heidi what's it?
Go down the list.
Yeah. Heidi is going to go down the list of any individual wishing to speak on public ordinance number 2020-3289. With that being said, any member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance number 2020-3289.
Would you like to make comment? Would you like to make comment?
Back there?
Would you like to make a comment?
Mute the line.
I guess he knows it's there.
I'll tell him. But he's got a bit of time. It won't take you any time. They're not going to turn your way.
Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment?
No, thank you.
Would you like to make a comment?
No.
Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment?
No.
Okay, that's all.
All right. Seeing that no member of the public wishes to make a comment on public ordinance number 2020-3289, move to close public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt ordinance 2020-3289. At this time, I'd like to ask the Township Committee to adopt a consent agenda, which would include resolutions 20-112 through 20-121, including bingo and raffle applications.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Committeeman Hybel.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt consent agenda. This time we have Township Committee comments.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two comments this evening. Number one, I want to commend our CFO, Colleen Lapp, and her team and our administration for putting forth a fantastic budget yet another year in a row. This year's budget introduction at a 0% tax rate increase shows the restraint of this municipality and administration even during these tough times. So I want to commend them for that introduction and the budget put forth. The only other comment I have this evening, Mayor, is hopefully this pandemic draws to a close very quickly, sooner than later, and we can get continued cooperation by our residents here in Middletown and throughout the state. Be safe. That's all I have for this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeewoman Snow.
Thank you, Mayor. I echo Committeeman Sedambrino's comments about Colleen Lapp. Awesome job as usual. I want to commend all the first responders as usual. They're doing an awesome job putting themselves on the line each and every day. We all appreciate them. I also want to give a shout out tonight with hopefully anticipating all our kids going back to school, to the teachers in the district and what they've managed to do to keep their students learning. And not only for the teachers that have teaching degrees, but the moms and dads that had to be substitute teachers. They've done an awesome job, and I think our kids are better for it. I just hope that they transition well back into the classroom after being home. But again, our teachers, as usual, have done an awesome job, and kudos to them. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeeman Hybel.
Thank you, Mayor. Those are some great comments. Thank you. I have to say the same. This has been a very tough month for everyone in this room, everyone in this township, everyone in this country and the world. Just going back to the teacher thing, the teachers are just doing an amazing job. And I know so just from what I got going on at home. My wife, I don't know, hopefully she's listening, but she's teaching our 3 kids and 27 other kindergartners right now as we speak. And I did enjoy our YouTube time yesterday. So I want to thank the teachers. I know you guys are doing just an amazing job. It's a hard job, and you're doing a great job. So again, this month has been tough. We experienced losing one of our own in our fire department and first aid. I just want to offer my deepest sympathy to the Weber family. Robert Weber was a member of Port Mount Firehouse for 15 years, also a member of Middletown First Aid. Very tough loss. He was an active member, and we appreciate his service, and God bless his family. Thank you. And I do want to talk about, and I think Mr. Sedambrino can also elaborate on this. My door is always open, as well as the mayor's and everyone else's here. If there's any local businesses experiencing tough times, I know we don't always get to talk, and Kevin and I were running around trying to run and manage our businesses during the hardest time that I have experienced. There's grants out there. There's people that can help you with what you need help with. The PPP grant has just been put out. I know not everyone has been able to participate in it because of funding. The businesses do need additional funding, so I want to make sure that's supported. And that will go a long way. So if anyone does anything, please reach out to me and I can help them with that paperwork or whatever else they may need. Next, I got a couple more things, sorry. Colleen and our staff, wonderful job. The budget presentation was excellent. I appreciate that. The hard work. I know everyone is doing it in a different way, and it's definitely a lot harder doing it than being right next to someone working in an office. So we appreciate that. Joe and your team, thank you again. We appreciate that as well. This is not always easy, and there's no chance that I can ever figure this out. So thank you. And lastly, sorry, Mayor, for being so long tonight. I want to thank the Board of Ed, Dr. George specifically. He's can get on the phone anytime I need something, and he's been helping us out in a lot of different ways. So the first thing is we have all our volunteers getting in fire trucks and ambulance around the town. The Board of Ed has allowed us to use a unit, a desanitizing unit for the EMS. So they have a unit that the Board of Ed has lent them until this is over, until when we don't need it anymore. And they committed to desanitizing every fire truck into town, which is over 50 units, every Friday for us. So I want to thank them. That's just a great thing he's done. He's been nothing but willing to help us. And also, I didn't say publicly, the Bayshore Middle School, the parking lot, for allowing us to get additional garbage cans there, which we have to all work on as residents to keep that clean. Please, before we lose that site, it is a mess, and I know everyone's trying to get the recycling out, and I know there's more of it. So, thank you, Mayor. Sorry for the long thoughts.
No problem. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I can assure my colleague, Committeewoman Snell, that my children will gladly acclimate back to school. And I also can tell you with the highest degree of certainty, seeing it firsthand, that I am forever grateful to the educators who are spending this time trying to do a new educational platform that they've been challenged with doing, and they're doing a great job of it. But, listen, our kids need school, and they need to get back. And whether that's in June or whether that's in September, the one thing that I've learned is, yes, we've been very adaptable and our children are very resilient, but there really is no replacement for that learning center to be with their teachers and with their socialization of their classmates and everything else. So I long for the day, and I look forward to that day, hopefully approaching as we continue to flatten the curve. I also, really breaks my heart as my colleague, Committeeman Hybel, mentioned the loss of Mr. Weber, a true dedicated volunteer to 2 emergency service units here in Middletown. Really hits home. It's a very difficult to fathom, but my thoughts and prayers, and this township is behind his family in any way we can possibly be. So, my heart goes out to all the first responders that are out there on the front lines, and they're doing such a great job. So, thank you to all of them. A thank you, as was mentioned, to our continued fiscal policies placed by our CFO and our administrator, all the department heads, to put a budget together that, quite honestly, I try to shoot every hole I possibly can in a budget. The mayor can attest to that. I spend countless hours. I spend countless hours meeting with every department and asking every single question I possibly can, and so do my colleagues. It's not a one-man show, and that commitment is tremendous. For us to be able to provide that introduced budget. But I am concerned. Not just about our budget forecasting long-term as this pandemic continues, but I am also concerned with a lot of people and businesses and individuals who are hurting right now in Middletown. And I've gotten a lot of responses, a lot of emails, a lot of messages, about, people who are really struggling. And My hat goes off to my fellow residents for what we've been able to do for now 40 some odd days to socially distance. And I really do believe, as the governor said, we are flattening the curve and we are seeing a real impact and decrease of our hospital census. And that I pray will continue over the next few weeks. But, you know, we do need to have a plan. We need a reasonable plan and a smart plan that balances both public health and the economics of making the world work. And, you know, a plan really needs to start to take shape, I feel, within the next, you know, few weeks to get this going slowly. We don't turn the switch on immediately, but the concerns will grow greater financially for this township and for everybody who lives here the longer this continues to go. But my hat's off to the residents and to my friends and neighbors here in Middletown and every one of you who are watching. You know, 4 cases, I believe we had yesterday, and it's still 4 too many. Don't get me wrong. But we really are doing our job to flatten the curve. And I look forward, as Committeeman Senabrino said, to taking that next step and hopefully being able to put a good public policy together with the leaders of everybody in government. And finally, my hat's off to my colleague, the mayor here, Mr. Perry, who has done a tremendous job, you know, leading this committee to not only this budget, not only to the priorities that we put forward, but has also done a tremendous amount to try to keep the morale and spirit of this community as high as he possibly can. And some of the things that, you know, ideas that he's been able to incorporate, like Takeout Thursdays, for example, it seems trivial. It might seem hokey, but you know what? It helped to lead an effort with the county, who created a Takeout Monmouth campaign based off Middletown's idea, and an idea that was originated by the mayor and I, bouncing the ideas off, and which he came up with. So thank you, Mayor, for your leadership during this difficult time. I look forward to having this room filled again. I never thought I'd say I wanted to see a meeting room filled in my 12 years on the committee, but I miss you all. And I look forward to seeing you sooner than later.
Thank you. I will just quickly echo the comments. Colleen Lapp, Tony Mercantante, as always, stellar job. I sat through most of the department budget meetings. They're not as fun as you walk into believing. But they are incredibly productive. And especially for a newer, base of a township committee to understand the granular details of a department is incredibly valuable. So I want to once again thank Colleen. I want to thank Tony Mercantante and everybody who took part, all of our department heads in this budget process. Our commitment to the taxpayers, looking through the lens of the taxpayer, understanding that we are in a high-cost state, but maintaining the services that you expect and that you deserve were priority number 1, and ensuring that those who sacrifice their time and who sacrifice their well-being are taken care of. The investments that we've made in our parks and our recreation facilities, these are all critical to the well-being of our residents, to the investments in our workers' comp, for our fire department, our EMS. These are all things to ensure their safety and their well-being for putting their lives on the line. Robert, I was talking the other day, unfortunately, after Rob Weber lost his battle with the coronavirus. I was speaking to his wife, Danielle, and I actually told a story that for the longest time, only Committeeman Hybel and I knew, and that we kept secret, but I told his wife, Danielle, the story of a LDH drill, a large diameter hose drill that took place at AT&T. And I just happened to be driving my wife's car And I drove over, it was a, smaller sedan, and I drove over one of these large diameter hoses and knocked a small piece of her car off. And one of the people that chased after me, chased after Committeeman Heidel and I, was Rob Weber. And that was the first time I got to meet him. And we laughed and laughed and laughed. He was a man of incredible integrity, a man that I was fortunate enough to share a few glimpses of time with. This department and Middletown are just a little bit missing that piece of fabric, that key part of Rob Weber. The few interactions that I had with him were memorable, and I appreciate that. And my heart goes out to his family, his entire extended family here in Middletown, and also I know in Brooklyn that I got to meet and speak with briefly. So again, my heart and my prayers go out to his family, and just know that Middletown lost an incredible volunteer, and I appreciate the governor. I appreciate Governor Murphy highlighting his service to our township in his press conference a few days ago. The one thing that I just want to close out on is one thing that was on our consent agenda today. And ahead of Earth Day, I thought it's incredibly appropriate to bring this up. But Resolution 20-121 was a resolution entering a renewable energy certificate to purchase 100% renewable energy to power all of Middletown's municipal buildings across our great town. Not only are we able to purchase 100% renewables to power this very building that we're sitting in now, but it is also coming with a 10% cost savings. So not only are we doing something ahead of Earth Day that is planet focused and energy focused, but it's also something that is saving the taxpayers. And however minuscule, our bill to JCP&L, I believe, if Colleen was still on the phone, she'd tell you it was just over $1 million last year. So that's real money when you're talking about more than $110,000 in savings while simultaneously going to 100% renewable energy. So with that being said, I am going to turn it back over to Heidi to open it up for public comment. Please, we ask once again, she's going to go through the list. I believe if you hear 2 beeps, that means your line has been unmuted. So if you would like to say something after those 2 beeps, that is your opportunity to make a public comment. I just ask that you identify yourself with your name and address for the record. And we ask that you just keep your comments to 5 minutes to provide the ability to go through all the participants on today's WebEx. With that being said, I'll open it up to any member of the public wishing to make a public comment.
Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment?
No, thank you.
Make a comment? Would you like to make a comment? Would you like to make a comment?
Yes, please. My name's Don Watson, living at 1 Collinson Drive. And I was wondering, right after Heidi read in the budget for Resolution 20-111, there was another resolution that everybody voted on. Could you tell me what resolution that was? I didn't catch it.
Don, you're talking about the 20-110, or are you talking about the approval of the minutes?
Before the approval of the minutes.
Before the approval of minutes, it was 20-110, which was a resolution authorizing the 2020 municipal budget. And then after that was resolution 20-111, which was a resolution to read the budget by title.
Right. Okay. The audio wasn't really clear back then. You guys are a little bit choppy, so I didn't understand what was being presented. Thank you. Anyway, a couple people have asked me why you're not televising these meetings on our cable access channels. There's a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are people that don't have access to the internet, so they can't get to see the video on YouTube. And, since we were televising like concerts in the park and other events on our cable access channel, I was wondering why we can't televise these meetings also. You have like at least 2 weeks before the next meeting, and it would give the public an opportunity to visit and our cable access channels and also view these meetings.
So Don, you broke up for a second, but you were saying, why haven't they gone on to the cable access channel?
That's correct.
Okay. Well, obviously, this being our second meeting, I have to be honest, I wasn't aware or not aware that whether it was going on to the. I know that these WebEx obviously are available you can even replay them, isn't that right? John, yes, the recordings are saved. So
the recordings are on YouTube.
The recordings are on YouTube. Yes.
Yes.
Have been uploaded. Okay, good.
So what I was saying is members of the public don't have access to the internet to view it on YouTube.
We'll take a look at the program. I know that the one issue to the program is it's pretty archaic, I have to say, Joe. But I'll take a look into it, Don.
Yeah, because you do have capabilities of recording it, obviously, and it would just be a matter of playing it on the television stations.
I got it. I'll take a look into it. Yeah,
Just to make sure.
yeah. Joe Faglerone, the head of our IT department, said that he would reach out to WebEx or I'm sorry, our TV
TV system.
our TV system vendor.
People don't have cable either.
All right, cool. Also, I was wondering if there are any other employees besides Rob Weber that have contracted the coronavirus. Any employees or other EMS workers?
That's a violation of HIPAA, Don. We wouldn't be able to.
So out of the 400 people in Middletown that have contracted it, you can't say whether any of them are employees or EMS workers.
That's a violation of HIPAA.
You're not divulging their names or anything. You're just saying, there are X number of employees that have this condition.
I'd rather defer to legal counsel on that.
Is he present?
Yes, Brian's here.
Have to identify.
You're going to have to repeat everything he says.
I'll repeat it, Don.
You could release generally de-identified information similar to municipal wide, but that's all if the data was even.
Okay. So Don, just to repeat what Mr. Nelson said, his counsel is that we would only be able to give out general data, obviously no names, because that would be a HIPAA violation. Tony. So the answer is 2.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Also,
I just wanted to check. I don't like to mess with.
Of course, that's right. You got to be sure, man. Rick also mentioned that his door is always open. I was wondering what door he's talking about. Is that your car door?
Car door, my office door. Come here and see, 6 feet away. Come anytime. Everyone else finds me. I'm right.
Just wear a face mask and be 6 feet away, Don.
And where's your office?
On 36 in Belford.
Okay.
Just call the office, call the mayor's office, and you can come see me anytime you like.
Okay. I don't have to call your office.
The mayor's office, please.
All right, cool. Very good. I was just curious about that because I was wondering, if you have an office in the building, we can't get in the building.
Don, you can call the office and I'll be glad to meet you 6 feet away anytime you want.
Very good. At least 6 feet. Thank you very much. That's about all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Don.
You're welcome.
Yep.
All right, Heidi.
Would you like to make a comment?
No.
I'm sorry, did you want to make a comment?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to make a comment?
No, thank you.
Would you like to make a comment?
Yes, this is Stephen Miller from 151 Borden Road. And I just want to second what Mayor Perry had said about moving to 100% clean energy. I really congratulate Middletown for converting the municipal buildings to 100%. Last meeting, I noticed the 25% clean renewable supplier. In this meeting, I noticed the purchase of the renewable energy certificates. And that guarantees that the renewables have been supplied to the grid for Middletown to use. And so the total is 100%. And I think you've really found an innovative way to have a low-cost way to get 100% clean electricity. Thank you for doing that. I think what Middletown has accomplished in clean energy is a great model for the residents and businesses. And I hope that you're going to brag and spread the word to everyone to expect this sort of thing for them, residences and businesses.
No doubt, Mr. Miller. We'll be bragging about this, our ability to go to 100% renewable. No question. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate that. We appreciate that.
That's all we have.
All right. Seeing no other member of the public wishing to make a public statement, move to close public portion and adjourn.
Second.
Committeeman Heiba.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Committeewoman Snow.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Fiore.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion passed to adjourn.
Have a great day, everybody, and stay safe. Thank you.